Hello, Drake Hawkins, Musically Optimistic here, and today I'm going to be doing a review of this Vylet Pony album, Girls Who Are Wizards. Now, Vylet Pony is an artist who I've been aware of for a while, but I'm not going to pretend to know the deep history of. Last thing I had heard from her was a couple tracks from her last mixtape, which was more of an alternative R&B smooth experience. And so going into this, when it got recommended to me on Album of the Year, and I put it on my fucking listed list, and then it actually took forever to actually get to, when I actually got to this, I expected it to be more of that, a pretty smooth, lighthearted, airy experience, but oh my god, it was not that at all. Now, if you're somewhat of a long-time viewer of this channel, you may be wondering why I'm reviewing this album, as I did say I'm pretty much done with album reviews, unless something comes along and blows me away. And this thing did do that, and this thing is going to be very high on my year-end list, so that's why I'm here reviewing it, so that, one, more people hopefully feel motivated to go listen to it, and two, so that when it does pop up on second or first place on my year-end list, people aren't being like, what the hell is this, and why is this here? Because yeah, just based off the cover art and maybe the album title, some people may be wondering, what the hell is this and why are you talking about this? And that is because I genuinely believe this is some of the best EDM, dance music, bro step, dubstep that I've heard in a very long time, and genuinely one of the most fun experiences that I've had listening to an album ever. Just starting off with the first track, Girls Who Are Wizards, the title track here, it is such a progressive odyssey. It starts off, then we get some very thick-ass dubstep wubs and just pummeling rhythm. And you think this is going to be the entire track. You think it's just going to be a pretty straightforward dance track. But no, halfway through, it breaks into this four on the floor rhythm, and we get some beautiful, serene vocals that have some the gorgeous, heartwarming lyrics as well. Home again, how my heart had yearned for this. The fires that forged me are now a hearth of my wish. Falling back to love from the clouds that wisp above, I'll always hold you, my hatchling doves. Now, obviously on a record like this, the lyrics aren't the main focus, but a lot of the lyrics on this record do have this more heartwarming and just serene vibe to them. There are other moments on this record where the lyrics do stand out, like on the track The Queen Is Back, one of my personal favorites, where it's this very like light, almost trip-hop sort of feel to the instrumental, and then like halfway through where it gets into the more intense dubstep whoops, you think this is going to be the entire track again. But no, then it breaks out into this rapped verse from Vylet Pony with this amount of intensity and just brutality and just braggadocio that's just absolutely fucking intoxicating. Fireball to the face, bitch, I'm hitting these 20s like nothing. Thunder and lightning still beckon my call, and you know that I couldn't be bluffing. Wait it out, I still haven't all the shit you've been bragging about. I'm on that wizard shit, you're giving quests in the crowd. And then going on to close the verse with my potions could kill you, bitch, cause your ass ain't strapped. Like, a random rap verse is the last thing I was expecting on this album, but we got it, and it's somehow, like, one of the most fucking enveloping parts of the entire album. And that's one of the main themes of this album, is that it will have these certain passages where it's like, okay, this is where it's going, this is how it's going to be, but then it subverts your expectation in a way that it still is very cohesive, flows beautifully from piece to piece, and like, there's so many elements on this fucking album that I think on their surface, if you separated them, wouldn't make sense. It sounds like three different artists could have made this. Like on, I think it was Story of DJ Goober, there's this drop like halfway through that sounds like it could have been like a 2016, 2017 DJ Snake type drop, but it somehow fucking works and feels distinct from every other thing here, while also reinforcing the passages that came before it and setting up the gorgeous fucking four on the floor, just standard synth electro house thing that comes after it. Like, the amount of forethought and love that goes into these tracks is just absolutely palpable. Like, you can tell that this is an artist who absolutely loves their craft, because like, there's so much passion put into these tracks. Now, if you look at the track list, you may notice that there is some sort of theming going on here with wizardry and creatures and potions and dragons. And weirdly enough, in the actual music itself, there's a lot of coherence with it having some medieval type melodies, like on my very favorite track, Musicians of Ponyville, Horse Friends Part 3, The Return of the Dreaded Vi Scratch, where it starts off with this almost bard-esque melody. Like, I'm sitting in the pub and the bard just comes along and starts strumming this beautiful little tune. And then the fucking beat comes in and just makes me feel like I'm the fucking baddest bitch in the fucking medieval horse. I can't even put it into words. Like, the chorus melody on this instrumental is fucking insane, and just it's perfect. It's literally perfect. Then midway through the album, we have Reflected in the Eyes of the Cavern Lurker, which is like an ambient piece to help us transition from the more intense dubstep-centric first half into some more of the more vocal-centric and just more dance-oriented cuts on the second half, like Creature City, which is probably the most vocal-centric one here. Like, it's basically just straight up an electro-pop song, and for the most part, I don't love the style that this thing goes for, but somehow this makes it work, and it fits in the context of the record beautifully. And the track is literally about finding a utopia where you can be who you want to be, and I think doing it over this sort of instrumentation works beautifully and supports the message as well, because there are a lot of people who will just outright deny listening to a song like this because of the sort of goofy-ass synth funk that it goes for. But because I think it works so well, and because the rest of the record has worked so well, coming into this goofy synth funk pop the house track is just absolute, like, it's great. And one of my favorite bits on this song is when there's a fucking Hatsune Miku jump scare saying what I'm pretty sure is their producer tag of "The Music Never Stops." And like, the first time I listened to it, I was like, oh my god, is this fucking Hatsune Miku? But thankfully, fucking Genius.com reassures me that yes, it is Hatsune Miku, and I'm not just insane. Like, the amount of character on this album is just absolutely indescribable, because there will be little moments like that. There are the fucking Music Never Stops producer tags all over these tracks, the transitions, like the vocal manipulations on Shelly, the android lobster, who story-wise is singing this song. It's a lot to take in, maybe, but like, when you're actually listening to it, oh my god, is it just endearing and just so fun. Not long after that, we get another personal favorite of mine, Sacred Dragon, which this drop on this one is absolutely insane. Story-wise, I believe this song is basically talking about, you know, a dragon, and basically building it up as this massive gargantuan thing, and the progression of this song really helps it feel like such, because the verses have their own pace, and then it builds up to the first drop, and it feels like this whole full, holistic, gorgeous thing. Like, you think this is probably as intense as the drop is going to be, but as it goes through the verse, like another verse, and then another bridge, and then we get this second final drop where not only is the drop there, the initial one from before, but we get these chorus vocals, so we finally get the hook near the end of the song, and then the drop falls out, and then we get it again, but with even more instrumentation, and it's even denser and more hard-hitting than before. It drops again, and then we get it again with even more layering, and yet again, it gets even more intense with every single time, and it's like, how are you even doing this? It's just fucking mind-melting. Like, the amount of instrumental layering and density on this record is just absolutely unmatched by other records that I've heard in this field. Like, I feel like I'm just stumbling over my words to try and compliment this thing, because everything it's doing is doing it so well and going above and beyond. Like, it could have just taken the same drop as before, given it to us again, but instead of doing that, it wants to build off of it and make every single reiteration of it be even more intense and memorable than the last. And so this track really does demonstrate the power of this so-called Sacred Dragon, and why on the next track, Battle Against It, it really enforces why they have to defeat it. Now, I could be reaching a bit with assuming that there is some sort of narrative with this album, because I honestly have no clue, but I think the track titles and the overall progression does hint to some sort of narrative going on here. However, I could be completely wrong about that, so don't take it at face value. And then the final two tracks of the album, we get two of the longest ones here, and they just hammer home that Vylet Pony really went into this record with a fuck ton of ideas, and just spent as much time as she could honing down the best ones and formatting them into such a captivating listen, because this 7-minute track here does not get tiring. It just it's engaging from front to back. And then the 6:43 track, which is more of like a credits roll moment, an outro sort of thing, also hits home. And it's one of the most beautiful tracks here. Like, so much life, passion, energy, and just heartwarming storytelling went into this record. And I am beyond glad that I fucking got around to finally listening to it. Because yeah, this is easily one of the best dance records I've heard this year, and one of the best records I've heard this decade, and honestly, hot take, one of the best records I've heard in my entire life. And so yeah, I pretty much have to just slap a big fat 10 on this and call it a day. Because yeah, it's fucking magnificent, and please listen to it. And Vylet Pony, if you're watching this, I love your website. How do I make text scroll?